I met Mr. Scott when I was 11 or 12, and he came to my home and was talking to my father about his plan to start the Hill Health Center. Me being a musician, I had seen Cornell did a lot of concerts, and I know he was an avid blues lover. About B.B. King concerts and Robert Cray concerts I've seen that. Well, I just appreciate that that he had the vision, and that he had the gusto to make something with his idea and to make it happen. I'm proud of him for doing that. I'm proud of him for lasting as long, for anything. It's from the beginning to the end, and he saw this through. I'm very proud of him. I have high hopes for the Hill Health Center. I'm a client myself, and they're pretty good.
Spinner, Chief Operating Officer of Hill Health Center. I have been a colleague of Scotty's. He has been my mentor, a very dear friend for many years, and he was truly a remarkable man. I can't begin to say how much I learned being around Scotty, particularly how wonderful he was dealing with people. He was everybody's friend and just really a remarkable human being. He's somebody that I miss regularly, and in fact, coming to this event tonight, I could not help but remember that 5 years ago, at our 35th anniversary, I picked Scotty up at his house and brought him here, and just knew that this would be the kind of event, with the exception of the fact that we're honoring him, because he wouldn't have liked that. It's the kind of event that he would really love, because it's a fun event with dancing and music and good people and lots of friends and collaborators, and I'm just glad to be able to be here to celebrate his life tonight.
Mr. Scott was someone who was very dear to me. He was instrumental to bring me to the Hill Health Center. I remember vividly, so did he when he was alive, a Saturday morning when he called me home and he said, Dr. Mitchells, I would like for you to join my group, and ever since, for the past 16 years, I've been at the Hill Health Center. We will miss him. I know that he is probably looking at us today, very happy that we're having this 40th anniversary, and we just wish that the Hill will continue to grow. I know that he wanted us to do that, and we really, really miss you, Mr. Scott.
How you doing? I'd like to take the time out to say what Mr. Cornell Scott meant to me. Growing up as a kid, I had family over in the Hill, and I remember his vision to make the Hill Health Center what it is today. No one realized his dream would mushroom into what it has mushroomed into. Very nice, loving, caring individual, and he's greatly missed right now as I speak. He meant a lot.
My first memories of Mr. Scott was in the 70s when I was actually practicing nursing, and it ended up that I was sent to some meetings that he was sharing. He was doing things with the pregnant moms, he was doing things with the city, and I ended up going and attending some of those, and I was so impressed with him. So as years went on, I ended up on quite a few other committees that he was doing. It was always something for someone that needed help. When I was offered the job, actually I was offered a job at the Hill Health Center in 1999. And I would have to really sit down and consider, because I was going from a job that I loved at the hospital. And so I went back and forth between August and finally the 21st of December, I accepted the offer to come to the Hill Health Center. And it was wonderful working there with Mr. Scott.
Hello, my name is Sandy. I'm Dixwell's nurse site manager, and I've been coming to the Hill Health Center for about 8 years through the pool. And when I had an opportunity to get a job at the Hill Health Center, I took it because I knew that Cornell Scott's legacy was what I wanted to be a part of, which is working for youth, adults, elderly, and little babies through the inner city who are not that fortunate enough to have, the great insurance or the great medical benefits that other kids do out there in the suburbs. So I'm just glad I'm here today and I'm part of his legacy, and I hope to continue his legacy and doing what I do at the Hill Health Center and to fulfill his dream.
I really appreciate Cornell, Dr. Cornell, because I came to Hill Health Center as a volunteer, starting a Growing Through Sewing program for the recovering women down at Village of Power. And he had faith and believed in me and what we were doing, teaching women skills and sewing, and he just really ordained that, and it just blossomed. And during the years, we always remember Cornell because he was the one that gave us the faith to say, yes, you can do this. Yes, he said he was a pioneer and he believed in things that other people didn't do or have. And so he said, go for it. And one of the things that we didn't accomplish that we will accomplish by next year, he wanted a flag to be made, a Hill Health Center Village of Power flag. And we're in the process of doing that. So hopefully next year this time, we can present a flag for a Hill Health Center that's been made and designed by Growing Through Sewing. So always remember him, and I'll always remember him for giving me the start something different that no other recovery program had, Growing Through Sewing.
Well, I'll tell you, I worked with Scotty for 25 years, and you know, the thing that I remember the most is we used to go to lunch, I would say probably once a week when he was in town with my father. And I can remember sitting there and feeling like, you know what, there was no difference in the way I felt almost about either one of them. I got that close with Scotty over the years. He was a guy I could rely on, a guy I could talk to. He was there for me at every turn. The word love comes to mind. And I don't say that easily. I'm a CFO. I deal with numbers.
Good evening. My name is Ella Manning, and I am a health educator at the Davis Street School-Based Health Clinic. And I really enjoy working for the Hill and doing all I can for the children to teach them about various health issues. And I really, really appreciated Cornell Scott. He was very instrumental in everything we have accomplished. And he's well known internationally, and everyone that I know that I've met have spoken very highly of Cornell. He was a very good person, very intelligent, and
I'm a community organizer, psychotherapist. I work for New Haven Family Alliance, but it's really because of Scotty that I've been able to do my work in New Haven, because right after I got my license, a friend of mine, Lee Holmes, had an idea. She wanted to start a child psychiatric clinic right on Dixwell Avenue with no money and no resources. Everyone said it was impossible. And then this guy, Scotty, showed up, and he said, you know, get the paperwork, follow the rules, and then I'll show you how to do it. You really can do it. I said, but we're only a couple of social workers and a few people right around Dixwell Avenue, and I think it's state licensing, it's a big deal. And he said, you want to do it, I'm with you. It can happen, and it did. We couldn't last for a long time, but out of that came a lot of learning and foundation for years more of work. So that's why I'm so grateful to him. That's why I'm here.
Alexandra Chan, I'm the Director of Dental Services. I came to Hill Health Center because Mr. Scott had such a great reputation for community health. He was an inspiration, and HRSA had recommended me into coming to the center and improving the dental department and the quality overall, and Mr. Scott's legend will continue to live.
As far as I'm concerned, I've been on the Hill Health Center board for about 15, 20 years now. To me, if it wasn't for Cornell Scott, there would not be a Hill Health Center today. And Cornell is one of the main reasons why I personally have stayed on the board as long as I have. I can remember when we could not pay our staff. We were something like $200,000 overdraft with First Bank. And thank God for Mr. Scott's friendship with Mr. McFadden, who was the CEO and president of the First Bank. Because of his relationship, he would let us pay staff and have that kind of overdraft. Cornell is a pioneer in the field of health services. He was a brilliant man, and I don't think that people realize how important he was not only to the Hill Health Center, but to the state in general, I mean, maybe nationally, because he sat on many national boards and he advised many national leaders.
I've known Mr. Scott for many, many years. He was a friend of the family, and his legacy to New Haven with the Hills Health Center is unbelievable. He was a wonderful, gentle giant of a man, and he is dearly, dearly missed. I think Cornell's legacy will live on through his work, his mentorship, his leadership, and all of us in New Haven will continue to make sure that Mr. Scott is never forgotten through his work with the Hill Health Center, his work with the community. So, like I said, a legend and a gentle giant. We miss you, Mr. Scott.
Doreen Coburn, the Manager of Human Resources and Recruitment for the Hill Health Center. It is a great honor to be able to celebrate the life of Cornell Scott, who has given me the opportunity to serve his community. And I wish the Hill Health Center the greatest 40th anniversary possible. And to all the members of the Hill Health Center, good luck for the future.
Hi, my name is John Garofalo. I work for the Hill Health Center, and I've been working there for about 6 years. I started 6 years ago as the facilities, purchasing, and security manager, director for the company, and I met Mr. Scott on my second interview. And from the first time you met the guy, he was a decent, good guy, somebody that you just knew was a good person. The reason I'm here tonight is because of Mr. Scott. Otherwise, I typically don't go to things like this. I sort of stay home and watch movies. I don't know, but Mr. Scott's a decent guy, good guy, and I'm here to celebrate him. Never had any issues with him as far as him being non-professional or indecent to anybody. And sometimes in business things get very, very rough. And Mr. Scott was always there. He sort of let me come into the company, and I was sort of hired as a hired gun to come in and lower all the costs of our purchasing and facilities, security services, cleaning, and he let me run by myself, and I did a great job, as a matter of fact, and that's because Mr. Scott probably just let me go and sort of knew what I was doing. He never said anything to me. He gave me some funny looks. In a couple meetings, he said I was a little loopy, but I knew he knew that I was doing a good job.
My name is Carolyn Holmes. I'm serving as the interim CEO at Hill Health Center. Cornell was one of my dearest friends. Scotty worked with us around the country on a national level. My fondest memory of Scotty is sitting in nightclubs after the meetings were over and listening to jazz. As you know, he was a lover of jazz, and so was I.
Hi, my name is Ludwig Spinelli. I know Cornell Scott for many, many years. He's a great friend of mine, a great mentor. I always look up to him, and I just can't put in words how important Scotty was in my life as the Health Center Director. Thank you.
Hey Scotty, it's Frida Turner. I just wanted to say thanks for the memories. We shared a lot of special moments. I believe that some of the things that we smiled about and laughed about, you took with you to the other side. Scotty, I'm going to do the same. I just want to say thank you for being unforgettable. You're one of a kind. Love you much, and I'll see you a long time from now, but on that other side. Bye.
Sue Feldman. I'm a social worker at the Hill Health Center, and I've been there since 1992. I am so incredibly taken with the vision of Mr. Cornell Scott, and I have been responsible for creating, implementing, and directing a women's program for inner city women who are homeless and in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And we have a sewing program as well as a drop-in center that's safe and secure. Mr. Scott totally supported this innovative and grassroots program, and I will forever be thankful to him.
My name is Mabel Carroll. I've been on the board 31 years. I met Mr. Scott in the late 70s. He was a great inspiration to me. When I needed someone to talk to, cry on his shoulder, he was there for me. I miss him and I love him. He is a great guy. There will never be another one like him.
I came to Hill Health Center in 2002 to help Mr. Scott with a pet project, which was to reopen the pharmacy department. And at the time, I was looking for a job where I felt that I could really feel invested and like what I was doing made a difference. And when I walked into Mr. Scott's office for the interview, it was deja vu. My sister's father-in-law was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. We used to fight over who got to sit next to him at holiday dinners. He had died recently. We missed him so much. And Mr. Scott, I walked in the office and it was just like he was there all over again, and I knew I was in the right place.
Hi, my name is Gaynor Pringle. I'm a community health worker at the West Haven Health Center Department, which is a satellite of the Hill Health Center. Born and raised in New Haven in the Hill community, and the only doctor's office I ever known of was the Hill Health Center. So growing up and going there as a child through up until my adulthood has been a pleasure, living in the Hill and going there for my doctor's visits. And now I'm a worker of the Hill of 8 years. And it's a pleasure of the 8 years that I've been there. I've known Mr. Scott, and he's just was a wonderful person. And everyone there is like family, and tonight we're having a good time in honor of him.
My name is Karen Goray. I am the manager of registration at the Hill Health Center, and I've been at the Hill Health Center for 5 years. My first opportunity to meet Mr. Scott was at our personnel committee, and he seemed like such a wonderful man. He was concerned about what was concerning me, and I found that to be a different type of interview for a prospective job applicant. But after I came on board at the Hill Health Center, I found that Mr. Scott was much more than what I had found out in that particular interview. And one thing I remember about him is all the people that come and go at the Hill Health Center, he always remembered your name. And when I would see him in the parking lot or when we pass each other in the hall, he'd say, "Karen, how's everything doing? How's everything at registration? Is everything going well? What's going on?" And just a person of his caliber, that he was concerned about what was going on within our department, within the people that we serve. It really enriched the opportunity that he gave me to work at the Hill Health Center. And working there has been an awesome experience. I'm there because I love people, I love serving people, and every day that we come in, if we're able to make a difference in one person's life, it's worth it.
I had an opportunity to meet Mr. Scott through my wife, and it was such a wonderful experience. We had a chance to come together. We were at a young lady's retirement dinner, and I had an extensive conversation with them. And the extent of the conversation centered around the Hill Health Center over on Columbus Avenue. I grew up in that area, and we were just talking about how it established itself and the great work that it was doing. As a matter of fact, one of my sisters had a chance to work there for a period of time. But his contribution and his conversation was extensive and wonderful, and was very exciting to me.
I'm Kathy Ackerman from Southwest Community Health Center in Bridgeport, but I've known Scotty since the early 80s, and he was always a mentor, a friend, a giant teddy bear to hug, the patriarch of the movement. I always looked up to him, hoped to emulate him, and I miss him so much. So Scotty, wherever you are, I hope you're looking down on us tonight and loving every minute of this, because it's for you. Love you always.
My name is James Rawlings. I had the privilege of working with Cornell Scott for 10 years at the Hill Health Center in the early 70s. And following that, Cornell and I were, I would think, the best of friends. And I continue to think of Scotty and the things he did, and the lessons he taught me, and the the way he framed the future. My best friend, Cornell Scott.
This is John McNabb with Quinnipiac University Physician Assistant Program, and I just want to recognize Hill Health on their 40th anniversary and want to thank them on behalf of our program for their commitment to the training of our future PA students, PA professionals, and we're very proud that several of our graduates have taken employment at the Hill Health Center, and we recognize that it's a very important resource in the community for the training of health professionals, and to recognize that they are serving a purpose in terms of getting our students interested in going into primary care.
I'm Terrence McIntosh, Director of Marketing Communications from the Community Action Agency in New Haven. I've been at the Community Action Agency for about a year now, but upon my arrival, one of the first things I've heard about was Cornell Scott and the tremendous amount of work that he did at the Hill Health Center. And one of our medical transportation program actually bring our senior citizens back and forth to the health center. And just to read about your legacy, it's amazing as this agency collaborates with partners in the community to be able to help our community out. And it's just an honor to be here tonight, and we appreciate everything that you've done. You've been a pioneer in health and helping African American health in the community, and as a member of the Community Action Agency in New Haven, we hope to be partnering with the new Cornell Scott Hill Health Center for years to come.
Katrina Clark, the director of the Fairhaven Community Health Center, and tonight it's the other health center. And I just want to say how wonderful Cornell Scott was as a friend, as a colleague, as a partner in many, many years. Over 30 years we worked together, struggling, fighting, and helping the uninsured, the disadvantaged, and people who needed health care the most. And I feel honored to have called Scotty my friend.
I'm Eric Clemens, one of the board of directors at the Hill Health Center. When I think of Mr. Scott, I remember my first board meeting and sitting and listening to him, and just the way in which he spoke and the words he used and how eloquent he was really struck me. So from that point on, I always made it my business at every board meeting to sit as close as possible to him, just so I could hear his language. So for me, he has been one of the greatest examples of what a black man can achieve if he just truly and genuinely cares for other people. So he's a role model, and always been a role model, and always will be a role model for me as I go on my professional and personal path. So I'm very thankful that I got a chance to sit with him, to talk with him, and especially to listen to him. And I'm very thankful for that.
My name is Evelyn Barnum, and I actually knew Scotty when he was a member of the board of directors of the Connecticut Hospice, and then I was lucky enough to be hired for the Connecticut Primary Care Association, and I appreciated his support for that. But I wanted to remark upon how incredible it was that Scotty could remember so many names, and like many other people, I wanted to make sure my children had the chance to meet him. And he always asked for them by name for years and years afterwards, and talked about everybody else's children by name. And so there are millions of us out there across the country really who probably had the privilege of knowing someone who remembered not only us but also members of our family and remembered their names, which I always thought was so touching.
Great what he did, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to know him, but I wish I could have, because we need more people like him out there in the world today, because there's not enough health care for people out there. So I think what he did was a really good thing, and we need to keep doing it ourselves.
My name is John Hamilton, case manager with Community Action Agency of New Haven. I am moved by the efforts and the success that was made by the Hill Health Center, and all the efforts that were made in advancing and helping people. I think we will be changed forever. We'll never be the same because of his great work. And so let us continue that legacy. Let us not let it go to waste. Let us allow his memory to live on in us and continue to do great things to help people in our time and times to come.
awesome gentleman. I was watching his video and I couldn't help but cry. Community Health Network, Part B, my daughter's on, and I think I am very grateful for everything he's done. And there's a sustenance bill out there, Bill 6600, and I know this gentleman would have been the first one to stand up for this bill. And I thank him with my whole heart, and I just think there should be more people out there for him, and every time I go out to fight for health care, I will think of him.
Well, first of all, I've known Scotty probably since mid or early 1970s. I was involved in a campaign for Mayor Frank Loeb. One of his colleagues was actually involved in that, Karen Sessions, who was also no longer with us. But Rosa was, I worked for Congresswoman DeLauro, and Rosa was very close to Scotty and was involved with him in the beginnings of the Hill Health Center. And I also served on the board of directors with the Hill Development Corporation with Scotty. He's a very unique individual, someone I will never forget.
Cornell Scott was a hero of mine, and he still is a hero because he is a fighter in my mind for the people, for better health care, justice, education, everything that makes a difference in people's lives, particularly to young people. And that's why I think he's a model of public service and will live through that legacy of being a fighter and really, as Martin Luther King would say, a foot soldier for justice.
My name's Janet Spinner, and Cornell Scott was a good friend and somebody that came in to help when I needed him to help the children of New Haven. We did a lot of mutual work around AIDS in teenagers as well as children in the New Haven public schools, ensuring they got what they needed. And when I thought I was defeated, then there was Cornell. I have to say he was one of the most gracious gentlemen I've ever met, and he had the ability to make one feel as though you're the only person in the world that he's ever talked to about anything. I'm just glad that he's been my friend, and I miss him terribly. The last time we had an event, Gary and I went to his home and brought him with us. I can't believe we couldn't bring him tonight, but I guess he's here anyway.
I just want to say that I miss you, Scotty. I love you. There was no greater person to help with people in the community than you. I just, speaking from the heart, and I just want to say that I'm here for you, and I will never forget you.